Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates. My name is Ron Tyler. I'm coming to you from the Area Command, 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Guys, we have some things I want to talk to you about tonight. Tonight is not going to be a normal show. Okay, I'm going to be right up front with you. Tonight will not be a normal show. I've got some things we need to discuss, and I believe we have some things that everybody wants to hear as well. Okay, I'm not going to dwell on everything that I normally talk about during a given show tonight. I'm just not going to do it. Okay, but what I'm going to do is appeal to your sensibilities. I want to appeal to those things that you want to know about. Okay, I'm going to appeal to things that count. Individuals. Individuals count here. Okay. Now, let me bring up my monitors here so I can pay attention to what's going on in the chat and what you guys want to talk about as well, because I am frankly going to be appealing to you as well, getting your opinions on what you think and what you'd like to see on our channel. Okay. I'm going to do that tonight as well. Okay. Yes, we're going to talk about earthquakes right now. We're definitely going to get into earthquakes right now. Now, I want to first talk about earthquakes because we've had a number of earthquakes this past weekend. Quite a number of earthquakes this past weekend that we want to delve into. Okay. I'm first going to get rid of our EMA banner here. I'm going to bring up the USGS map here. We're going to first talk about over in the Caribbean, Eastern Caribbean, and over in the Western Atlantic Ocean. That's where I want to go with this. Okay. So I'm going to bring up the USGS map here. What you are seeing here is part of what's going on in the Caribbean, just northwest of the U.S. Virgin Islands. Okay. But it's not all. It's not all. Why am I doing this? Because we've had a number of earthquakes here. Okay. A sum total 69 earthquakes here in the Eastern Caribbean Ocean, Caribbean Sea. Okay. Lots of earthquakes. Lots and lots of earthquakes here. Okay. Normally, we don't have this many earthquakes at all. Rarely does it ever happen like this. Okay. But what the USGS wants us to see is almost nothing. They don't want to see anything here. They have no intention on telling us the truth about what's going on here. Nothing. Nothing at all. This is a 3.6 small earthquake. 3.6 small earthquake here. I'm going to show you a bit large earthquake. This is a 3.4 small earthquake here. Okay. Just give me a second here. There is a 4.1 earthquake here that they have disguised. Okay, this is a 3.9 earthquake here. That's a 3.9, 4.0. Okay, they have it listed as a 3.9 here. This earthquake happened on the 12th of the month. I'm sorry, not the 12th of the month, the 8th of the month, yesterday. Yesterday, guys. Now, why is that important? Frankly, it's this, okay? This is just one of many earthquakes. One of many earthquakes here, okay? There was a 5.0 earthquake that happened here. What they would have us believe, this is nothing. Nothing. This is a 3.8 small earthquake here. This is a 4.4 here. This is a 4.4 earthquake here. This also happened last night. Okay, last night, 4.4 earthquake. This is what I was looking for. Okay, why would we have all these earthquakes here? Why do you think we have all these earthquakes here? Okay, this is not normal at all. Usually when we have a large earthquake, we have a large number of aftershocks. That's what this is. Okay, this 4.4 earthquake was a much larger earthquake. They don't want anybody to believe that. Okay, when they first called us out, it was a 4.5. They downgraded all the way down to 4.1. They upgraded again to 4.5 or 4.4. Okay, at no point in time was this a 4.5 or a 4.4. This was a much larger earthquake. Notice also where this earthquake is located. When we have aftershocks like you see here, the aftershocks correspond to a place where the original earthquake hit, where the original earthquake 5.0 and large earthquake hit, right here. This is not a 4.4, it wasn't a 4.3, wasn't a 4.1, it was a 5.0 plus earthquake. A 5.0 plus earthquake. All these aftershocks that you see here are representative of a large earthquake. They represent a large earthquake. As the earthquake hits, the earth then tries to go back to its original place. That's why we have aftershocks. The ground tries to settle back down to where it was. Okay? Now, the USGS has this as 107 kilometers north-northeast of Cruz Bay, U.S. Virgin Islands. Cruz Bay, U.S. Virgin Islands, right here. Okay? They want us to believe that is the case. Okay? Yes, it is far out into the Northern Caribbean here. Granted. But when we take an overall look at what's exactly happened here, what do we have? What do we have here, guys? This fault line originates in Guatemala. It originates over in Guatemala. Let's go over here and take a look at it. Okay? Right over here. Originates out of here, out of Central America. Goes out here in the Caribbean, West Caribbean here. Then it goes out here and takes a northerly turn. Where's it go? Where's it go, guys? Goes way up here. What's this, guys? What's this? This fault is named after these islands. Okay? This fault originates in Guatemala, goes out into the Caribbean Sea, takes a northern turn, goes south of these islands, continues its eastbound journey north of Jamaica, cuts through the southern part of Cuba here. Notice this earthquake here. This is a 5.5 earthquake. This is a very strong 5.5 earthquake. Okay? So Cuba shook to its limits. Cuba has not seen a 5.5 very large earthquake in a very long time. They have felt some aftershocks of large earthquakes, very strong 6.0, 6.5, 6.7 earthquakes down here in Haiti. They've felt the aftermath of these Haiti earthquakes, but they haven't felt a 5.5 very large earthquake like this for a long time. Then this same fault zone continues its eastbound journey north of Haiti, north of the Dominican Republic, north of Puerto Rico, and north of U.S. and British Virgin Islands here. Then it takes a southern turn down here just past the Leeward Islands. Then it continues south until it gets down here towards Venezuela. Then it takes westward turn back here and goes into Venezuela. Okay? That's where these earthquakes came from. That's where all these earthquakes came from, guys. Okay? This was a much larger 5.0 plus earthquake. And all of these subsequent aftershocks came after that large earthquake the USGS still does not want to talk about. Heaven forbid. Heaven forbid they acknowledge that. They never will. They never will. But I want to show you this because this is very concerning. I've had a lot of people ask me about this. All of these earthquakes originated in Jamaica. I'm sorry, not Jamaica, Guatemala. Came all the way out here on that earthquake fault. That undersea ridge here. Okay, that's what happened. Now, down here closer to the Virgin Islands here, this is southwest of the U.S. British Virgin Islands. Now, what's wrong with this picture? The USBS has this as the north-northeast of Cruz Bay, U.S. Virgin Islands. That's very interesting. Okay. Let's go down here to Puerto Rico. Over here off the southeast side of Puerto Rico here. This is a 3.0 earthquake here. Okay. This happened on the 6th. This is a 3.1 earthquake here. This also happened on February 6th. Okay? They had nothing to do with that earthquake fault. These earthquakes here are a result of what's happened here in the Caribbean here. Okay? This is part of what happened years and years ago, hundreds if not thousands of years ago, when Puerto Rico was being built here. This is an undersea ridge here. Okay? Over here on the island, this is a 2.0 minor earthquake here on the southeast side of Puerto Rico here. This is a 1.9 2.0 southwest of Salinas, Puerto Rico. We go down here to the southwest of Puerto Rico. This again is very important because in 2019 on December 26th and again on December 28th, two very major earthquakes happened here. An 8.0 on December 26th and an 8.4 on December 28th. As a result of those major earthquakes, we have had a bunch, hundreds, if not thousands of other aftershocks. The aftershocks are continuing almost 6.5 years later. Actually, just over 6 years later. Okay? This earthquake happened today. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake. Right behind it here, this earthquake happened yesterday. This is a 1.7 tremor. Over here to the northwest, this is a 2.0 earthquake. Down here further south, this is a 2.1. This is a 2.3. Southwest of Indio is Puerto Rico. Further over here to the southwest, offshore, this is a 2.6 minor earthquake here. 12 kilometers southeast of Guernica, Puerto Rico. We go north. This is a 2.2. We continue going to northwest. This is a 2.0. These earthquakes are aftershocks of the 8.0 and 8.4 earthquakes that happened here December 26th and December 28th, 2019. Man-made earthquakes. Man-made earthquakes. This is what happens when we have a man-made earthquake this strong. Yes, there are natural 8.0, 8.4 earthquakes that happen. 9.0, 10.0 earthquakes that happen. But these two earthquakes on December 26th and December 28th, 2019 were man-made earthquakes. One facility in Norway, one in Russia, and one in northwestern Australia opened up. They opened up. This organization right here is what happened. Please do not put this in the chat. I don't want to see this in the chat because YouTube will take me down. Okay? But this organization right here was responsible for those earthquakes on December 26th and December 28th, 2019. They turned on their facilities, opened up their antennas, triangulated Puerto Rico, and as a result of that, we had two major earthquakes here that shook this area, knocked out power across the island, completely knocking out power across the island. A few years later, Hurricane Maria came into Puerto Rico again, completely devastating Puerto Rico. Doing a sideways glance off the U.S. Virgin Islands over here. Came in here to Puerto Rico and destroyed Puerto Rico, knocking out power again for months. Months. We still have earthquakes here today as a result of those men and women that work for that electronic agency. Further northwest here in Puerto Rico, I don't believe this earthquake has anything to do with that agency. This is a 2.2 earthquake over here in the foothills of the mountains here in western Puerto Rico. This is a 2.2 minor earthquake, 3 kilometers, 1.5 miles north of Sabana, Puerto Rico. Sabana Aninas, Puerto Rico. Offshore of western Puerto Rico here. Okay? This is in what they call the Mona Passage, which is a body of water opened up here between the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. This is over here off the western edge of the plate here Puerto Rico sits on. This is a 3.2 earthquake here. Offshore from northern Puerto Rico, we have this earthquake here. This is a 3.0, also dropped off by the ridge of this earthquake fault. Further out here to the west, also came off this fault. This is a 3.2 earthquake here. Further off the northwest shores of Puerto Rico, we have a 3.0 earthquake here. We have a 2.6 earthquake here. We have a 3.1 earthquake here. These are small earthquakes, guys. Nothing major, just small earthquakes. This is a 3.1. None of these earthquakes around Puerto Rico or on Puerto Rico today were felt earthquakes. Earthquakes on Puerto Rico were minor earthquakes. They can't be felt. They cannot be felt. Only earthquakes larger than 3.0 can be felt. And these 3.0 were offshore. Offshore. The waters of the Caribbean absorbed the shockwaves of this quake, or these quakes. Further over here in the Mona Passage to the west, just offshore from the Dominican Republic. This is a 3.3 small quake. Further to the south is a 3.4. Then offshore from the southeastern side of the Dominican Republic, offshore from a major resort, this is a 3.6 earthquake here. On southeastern Puerto Rico, or southeastern Dominican Republic, this is a 3.7 earthquake here. 12 kilometers west at San Rafael del Yuma, Dominican Republic, 3.7 earthquake. Off to the north, this is a 3.4. This is 3.94.0. All these earthquakes here were dropped off by that seismic fault to the north, coming out of Central America. That's what happened here. Okay? So we talked about Cuba. We've talked about the Dominican Republic. We talked about Puerto Rico. We talked about the earthquakes northwest of U.S. and British Virgin Islands. Okay? We'll come back to all this in just a minute. I want to go down here to Cuba, or not Cuba, I'm sorry, Tonga. I want to go down here to Tonga today. Okay? This is a 5.2 earthquake here. This is a 5.2 earthquake. Okay? This earthquake happened on the 3rd of February. The 3rd of February. Why is that important? It really is. Because this earthquake right next to it is a 5.0 that happened today. 5.0 large earthquake that happened today. Both of these earthquakes are very shallow earthquakes. This is 39 kilometers deep. This earthquake is 10 kilometers deep. Shallow earthquakes. This earthquake is of a lesser magnitude. Again, why? Because the large earthquake hit the other day. The ground here is still settling. The earth here is still settling. That's why we had another 5.0 earthquake here. We go down here in the area here. This is over just southeast of Fiji. Okay. However, this is northwest of Humatonga. 4.4 earthquake here. You see an earthquake to the northwest. This earthquake happened yesterday again. 4.7 earthquake. All these yellow earthquakes happened in the past week. All these earthquakes happened here in the last week. The brown earthquake happened here today. 4.7 earthquake here, a 5.0 up here to the north, offshore from Hiifotonga. You see this big earthquake here? This is that 6.1 earthquake that we told you about on the 4th of February. 6.1, very strong earthquake. 184 kilometers deep. Still a fairly shallow quake. Fairly shallow quake. Let's go down here into New Zealand. Okay. I want to talk to you about this earthquake over here on the north side of the South Island of New Zealand here. Okay. This is a 4.3 earthquake. 4.3 earthquake. This happened on the 3rd of February, 6 days ago. Guys, this island here is full of earthquakes. 9 earthquakes here on the South Island here. 17 earthquakes on the North Island here. 17 earthquakes here on the North Island. They're still not telling us the truth here. Still not telling us the truth here. I don't think they ever will tell us what's going on here. But I'm telling you right now, one of the reasons we have this 4.3 earthquake here, this area is a subduction zone. This area is a subduction zone where the Southern Pacific Plate is subducting underneath the Indo-Australian Plate. They say sometime in the next 20 years that we're going to probably see an 8.0 plus earthquake here. They say we're going to see an 8.0 earthquake here. It's very possible. Very, 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 very possible. Guys, we need to keep our eyes peeled here. We continue to see earthquakes here. There's a good reason for it. This area is part of a large subduction zone. A very large subduction zone, guys. It's insane. It's literally insane. Now, I want to take us over Indonesia here. There's some earthquakes here we need to talk about. We've not seen any earthquakes here in Australia today. No earthquakes here in Australia today. Notice the earthquakes here in Papua New Guinea earlier this month. Earlier this month. Let me show you this. This today. The United States Geological Survey is not telling us the truth about anything. Nothing. Nothing at all. Look all over Indonesia. What do you see? What do you see here in Indonesia? Nothing. Not a thing. We see one earthquake here. We see one earthquake. North central Indonesia. 149 kilometers west-northwest of Bethel, Indonesia. 5 points earthquake. 5 points earthquake. Yet they're not showing us any other earthquakes here in Indonesia. There are 76 earthquakes all over Indonesia. 76 earthquakes. And they show us one 5.0. This is pretty poor. Because south of Java, Indonesia, here we have another 5.0 earthquake that they are not even telling us about. +70 earthquakes here in Indonesia, they show us one. One earthquake. This is just part of one of the largest subduction zones in the world. Part of one of the largest subduction areas in the world. That's why we have so many earthquakes here that the USGS does not want to talk about. The USGS wants us to believe there's only 245 earthquakes worldwide. 76 earthquakes just here in Indonesia alone that they're not telling us about. They don't want to talk about. It's interesting to note there are plenty of earthquakes. Plenty of earthquakes that they are hiding. We go over here into the Indian Ocean, the Carlsberg Ridge here. This is a large 5.0 earthquake. Large 5.0 earthquake. The energy from this earthquake is going to go over here into Saudi Arabia. It's going to find its way through the Arabian Sea here, go through the Carlsberg Ridge up here to Saudi Arabia, or over into Iran, or over to Iran. Look where that earthquake fault goes. Either way, Saudi or Iran. Okay? Note this. They are not showing any earthquakes here in Afghanistan. There are 3 earthquakes here. 4.4, 4.6, and 4.7 earthquakes around Kabul. Around Kabul. Because of seismic energy that's come out of Indonesia, going up here through Southeast Asia, Thailand, Vietnam, Cambodia, Myanmar, Burma, going up here in the India Himalayas, crossing west through the Himalayas, which is the edge of the plate, up here in Afghanistan. It's interesting to know. No mention of it here at all. I could show you my device, or it would show tons of earthquakes all over the world. But they would have you believe nothing's going on. Nothing. Nothing at all. Again, we go over here at Eastern Turkey, Syria border region. 75 earthquakes here. They don't want to talk about. 9 earthquakes over here in northern Turkey. Interesting to know. But over here in western Turkey, guess what? 100 earthquakes here. 100 earthquakes near Bursa, Turkey. A week or so ago, we just had another 5.0 earthquake here. we are still seeing swarms of earthquakes that keep happening here. As we talked about earthquakes before, when we see swarms of earthquakes developing, we know darn well that a much larger earthquake is going to happen. That's why we continue to see earthquakes here. Okay, what are these earthquakes coming from? Notice where burst is, going east. The edge of the plate here. See where Samson is? Dipping down here just north of Sebas. Yeah. Went all the way around the ocean here. All the way around the ocean. Over here to Georgia. Russian territory, Georgia. Going over into the Caspian Sea. See where Baku is? The edge of the plate cuts through the Caspian Sea here. Comes over here into Turkmenistan. Works its way back over here to Afghanistan and the Himalaya Mountains. That's the way it works. In this case, the seismic energy is working its way west. Working its way west here. That's why we keep seeing these earthquakes happen. And they keep coming. And they keep coming. 18 earthquakes here in Greece today. 18 earthquakes in Greece nobody's talking about. Yesterday on the west side of Greece here, we had another 5.0 earthquake here. Plenty of earthquakes here in the Aegean Sea because of magma down beneath the surface of the sea, down beneath the bottom of the ocean here. Magma trying to find its way to a piece of bedrock that can pound its way through until it can find a place to erupt. Either at a known volcano or maybe, just maybe, it can find its way to a previous volcano and erupt again. That's what's happening here. Last year we saw a lot of earthquakes here, hundreds of earthquakes hitting here because the magma down beneath the sea here is trying to work its way through bedrock to find a place to erupt. Earthquakes here in Greece, just part of the edge of the plate. Part of the edge of the plate here. Okay? That same plate that had the huge earthquake here back in February 3rd of 2023. The Turkey-Syria border region. The Anatolian Fault. That fault runs down here out of Turkey-Syria border region, down here past Cyprus, out here in the Mediterranean Sea, along the edge of the plate. Fascinating, huh? It runs south of Crete. That's why we have that 5.0 earthquake here just west of Crete yesterday. Generally, the energy comes up on the western side of Greece here, goes over here into Italy, goes over here in the boot of the shoe of Italy here. We have earthquakes here. Again, USGS not showing any of them. We have minor earthquakes, 2.1 to 2.7 here all over southern Italy here. Over here by Naples, we've talked about this before. Another volcano. Vesuvius volcano is trying to erupt here. As a result, we keep having earthquakes here. Lots and lots of earthquakes. Northwest of Vesuvius, right here, near Naples, we had a 2.7 earthquake here today. 2.7 minor earthquake. Going north through Italy here, right here. We have 23 earthquakes here. 23 earthquakes in this region. A few months ago, we had a 5.0 earthquake here. Again, when we see earthquake swarms, we're going to have another large earthquake. That's what's going to happen here again, probably very soon. Lots of earthquakes here. Earthquakes over here around Milan, Italy, where the Olympics are happening. But the earthquakes are tremors and minor earthquakes, meaning tremors 1.0 to 1.9. You're not going to feel those. 2.0 to 2.7 north and east and west of Milan, Italy here. In the Alps Mountains. Mostly Switzerland here and France. 2.5, 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes here in France. Literally all over France. See where Bordeaux is? A 2.5 earthquake over there. Up here to the north. Right up here. I believe this is pronounced Rennes. 2.2 earthquake. Okay. Down here at the border region of Spain, 3 earthquakes. 2.2 right here. 2.5 earthquake right here. Another 2.7 up here in southern France. Southern France right there. Now, we only have a handful of earthquakes down here in southern Spain. 2.0, 2.2. However, that changes over here in western Spain here. 20 plus earthquakes here. Western Spain. 2 earthquakes in Portugal. 2 minor earthquakes here in Portugal. Down here to the south, in the Azores Islands here. 2.2, 2.7, 2.8 earthquakes here in the Azores Islands off the coast of Spain and Portugal here. Quite a few. Then we go out here into the Atlantic Ocean here. These islands belong to Azores. They belong to the Azores. We have volcanoes on these islands. That's how these islands became. How they became islands. We have minor tremors and minor earthquakes happening out here. 2.2, 2.7 earthquakes happening here. Ongoing earthquakes. Now, the USGS is not showing anything around Iceland. However, right here, south of Iceland, on the Reykjanes Peninsula area, off the Reykjanes Peninsula on the fault zone, the Mid-Atlantic Fault Zone. 50 earthquakes here south of Iceland. 50 earthquakes off the south of Iceland. Actually, it's 53 earthquakes off the south of Iceland. On the European map, if you backed off the Icelandic country, all of a sudden you'll see a dot here showing 100 earthquakes. There's only one earthquake off of northwestern Iceland. It's a 2.7. Most of the earthquakes are down here south of Iceland on the Mid-Atlantic Fault. We have 4 earthquakes here in Iceland, actually 5. 5 minor earthquakes here in Iceland. Several, actually, I will say 3 earthquakes down here on the Atlantic Fault coming into the Reykjanes Peninsula here, right here. 2.2, 2.5, and 2.7 earthquakes here. However, we have 3 earthquakes over here in Iceland. 2.6, 2.5, and 2.7 going north. What's causing them? I don't know. Maybe we have another underground, out of mind, magma finger out here. Could be. The entire island of Iceland used to be one huge volcanic field. One huge volcanic field. That's why we still have earthquakes down here in the south. About 5 years ago, way down here in the southern Reykjanes Peninsula, we had a huge volcanic eruption here. That was before any other volcanic eruptions of recent time. People came all over the island and all over the world to visit this volcano. They haven't had a volcano in Iceland in a very long time. Thousands of people came over here to watch it erupt. They got way close to the erupting lava, way too close. Some of them received minor burns, they got that close. You see the black lava here. That was the result of the magma that erupted here, turning into lava. Okay? Since this time, more lava has erupted. We've had instead, this eruption down here to the south was a volcano. Not a fissure, but a volcano. Since that time, we have had numerous fissure eruptions up here through the Reykjanes Peninsula. Through the Reykjanes Peninsula here. Going up here. Right this area here. And further over here to the east. Fissure eruptions. The fissures calm down. They stop erupting to a point. More lava keeps fountaining out, forming a cone or crater. That's what happened here every fissure eruption we've had here. Now it might continue. It might continue doing just that. Why do they say that? Because it has happened during the past 5 years. Since that first volcanic eruption in southern Reykjanes Peninsula, we've had these fissure eruptions, long fissures, anywhere from a kilometer and a half all the way up to 13 kilometers long. Fissure eruptions. They may very well continue here. They may very well continue here. Okay? We don't know. We have not had a fissure eruption here in almost a year. It might happen again very soon. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But we have over 100 earthquakes down here in the south of Iceland. The USGS doesn't want to show us. Craziness. Absolute craziness. Now, they also don't want to show us any earthquakes over here in Ontario, Canada. Interesting to know. A 2.5 earthquake over here in Ontario, Canada happened today. 2.5 earthquake. And USGS says nothing about it. Interesting to know. We've had some shaking here in North Carolina again. But this time, the only shaking we've seen is on our water bottle here. Okay? We have not felt any earthquake shaking here. Down in South Carolina. Over here near the coast. Okay? This is a different animal. This is a 1.6 tremor here. 3 miles, 6 kilometers southwest of Ladson, South Carolina. Northwest of Charleston. 'It's interesting to know. USGS does show minor tremors, don't they? When they want to. Interesting. Guys, we've had temperatures into the low 50s here today. Our snow is melted. The snow that we got a week ago is melted. 7 inches of snow gone. The ice that we had from the week before is almost gone now. Interesting. Guess what? Wednesday into Thursday this week, we've already had plenty of cold temperatures, below 0 temperatures. Guess what's happening Wednesday into Thursday? We may see temperatures in the 60s and low 70s by Wednesday or Thursday. But guys, before you break out your spring and summer gear, wait till Friday or Saturday, when the temperatures fall down to freezing again. Yeah. That's what we are going to see during this week and into the weekend. Temperatures raising up into the 60s and low 70s, and by Friday and Saturday, temperatures going back down into the 40s and low 30s, and maybe in the low 20s at night. Yeah. Cold front's going to come through, guys. It's already in the Midwest and West going east. Briefly, let's look at Oklahoma today. Right here. We have a swarm of earthquakes, don't we? Small swarm of earthquakes. This is a 2.1 near Calumet, Oklahoma. 2.1 earthquake near Calumet, Oklahoma. Interesting to know. The swarm that we have is southeast of this earthquake. 2.1 earthquake here. Let's zoom in here. Let's see why we have this earthquake here. Okay? Just northeast of this earthquake. Within that 10-mile limit. Remember me telling you about the 10-mile limit? Anywhere from 6 to 10 miles away from an earthquake, if there is a oil and gas fault zone, man-made earthquake fault zone, oil and gas drilling, that is responsible for these earthquakes. This is a 2.1 earthquake, and guess what we have here? Within that 6-mile limit, 6 to 10-mile limit, we have an oil and gas pumping ground right there. I can't get any closer than that. And they just took this earthquake down. Go figure. Go figure. Right here. Look at this. Earthquakes. Earthquakes. 2.3 earthquake here. This is 1.7. 1.4. 1.9, 2.0. 2.1. 1.6. 2.7. 2.1. 1.4. 2.2. And 1.7. What do we have here, guys? What do we have here? Down here to the southwest here, I do not see any oil and gas pumping operations at all. There might be, but we don't know. We don't see it here. This earthquake down here to the southeast, the same thing. Go up here to the north. Not here either. Nothing. But up here to the north here, right here. Oil and gas pumping operation here. And over here as well. Oil and gas. That's why we have earthquakes here. Oil and gas fracking earthquakes. 586,000 pumps and jacks in Oklahoma alone. Over 586,000 pumps and jacks all over Oklahoma alone. Who knows how many hundreds of thousands of pumps and jacks are in Texas? Look at all these earthquakes in Texas. South Central Texas again. Brand new earthquake here. Brand new earthquake. Falls City, Texas. Falls City, Texas here. 1.7 tremor here. Right next to a 1.1. Oil and gas fracking operations all over this region. Look at all these oil and gas fields here. These earthquakes are right in the middle of an oil and gas field here. The same thing is over here in northwestern Texas, right here. Midland, Texas, oil and gas. Oil and gas throughout this region here. 1.2 near Stanton. Stanton. Almost a year ago, we had a 5.0 earthquake here in Stanton, Texas. Earthquakes are continuing to happen here. This is a 1.6 tremor here. This is a 2.8 minor earthquake. 2.8 minor earthquake right in the middle of an oil and gas field here. Again. Okay? The same thing over here in western Texas. Okay? Oil and gas field here. Oil and gas field. All over this region. Literally all over this region here. Okay? That's what's going on here. Now, Southern California is still moving, as it always does. Lots and lots of earthquakes. Still, again, today, the United States Geological Society here, yeah, I call it a society, do not want to admit what's going on here. Unreal. They're still not showing much of anything going on. Over 500 earthquakes over here in the Imperial County, Southern California, Imperial Valley. They show one earthquake. There are 500 plus earthquakes here. This is a 2.0 just southwest, actually southeast of Westmoreland. Southeast of Westmoreland. They're not showing any earthquakes over here in Calipatria. They're not showing any earthquakes in Imperial. They're not showing any earthquakes in El Centro. Nothing down here in Holtville. They're not showing any earthquakes here in Bombay Beach. Nothing. Over 500 earthquakes a day here in the Imperial Valley. They're not showing anything but one there. And over here to the south, to the northwest here, 0.7 microquake in Ocotillo Wells. Interesting, but no cigar. Further north over here in Indio, we're still seeing aftershocks from 4.5. It was actually a large 5.0 here 2 weeks ago. Aftershocks are still raging through this area. 1.3 tremor here. 0.6 microquake. 0.9 microquake. 1.8 tremor here. Indio, California is still having aftershocks. LA, Eastern Los Angeles, Orange County, San Bernardino County, earthquakes. 0.9 here in Redlands, San Jacinto Fault. To the north here, 1.2 tremor here in Mentone, California. They're still not showing any earthquakes here on the San Andreas Fault, but there are earthquakes here. They just refuse to show them. Earthquakes all over Los Angeles, they're saying nothing. They're saying nothing. Rancho Cucamonga, Orange County. Actually, I'm sorry, not Orange County, this is San Bernardino County. Rancho Cucamonga 1.0 tremor here. I have dear friends here in Rancho Cucamonga. Wonderful thing here. Going north here. Valencia, California 2.0. But why are they not showing the other 400 earthquakes here in the LA area? Why are they not showing the other 400 earthquakes here? Inquiring minds want to know. Los Angeles. Actually, I'm sorry. We leave Los Angeles, we go over here into Northern California. Right here. San Simeon is still rocking. San Simeon is still moving here. 1.5 tremor. 4 years ago, we had a 5.0. 4 years ago, we had a 5.0 over here in San Simeon, California. Incredible. We go north over here to the San Andreas Fault. San Lucas, California. 1.0 tremor here. We go north up the fault. Brand new earthquake. 2.0 here in the Pinnacles. Minor 2.0 earthquake here in the Pinnacles, which is also an oil and gas production area. We go up here to the north. 2.4. San Andreas Fault here in the Pinnacles again. For the northwest here. 1.5 also attributed to the Pinnacles. And right here, Tres Pinos. Tres Pinos, 1.6 tremor here. Going over here to the east. Northeast, San Ramon, California again. San Ramon is still moving. 1.6 tremor here today. Further out here in the Northeast, on the Calaveras Fault, is a 1.7 tremor up here in Brentwood, California. Brentwood, California. Up here to the north, Santa Rosa, California, where we had a 4.5 earthquake here about a month ago. Still rocking. Still rocking. 2.0 earthquake here in Santa Rosa, California. Northeast of there, 1.6 tremor here. Then we come up here to the geysers facility here, the geothermal facility here. Over 106 earthquakes here today. This is more earthquakes than we've ever seen here in the geysers since I've been doing this. 106 earthquakes here in the geysers facility. This is a geothermal facility, guys. A geothermal facility. What do they have going here? For those of you that have been with my program past 6.5, almost 7 years, we know this is a place where men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of a volcano. The Clear Lake volcano here to the north. Men have drilled into the upper magma chambers of this volcano to obtain steam to power turbines here in the geysers. To power turbines here in the geysers. To generate electricity here. Guess what? Every time they have drilled into the upper magma chambers of that volcano to get steam, those drill points happen to be man-made earthquake faults. Man-made earthquake faults. Man-made earthquake faults. Right here. See this kind of round area here? I can't get any closer than that right now. These are drill points. This is an area where we have drill points, where man has drilled into the upper magma chambers of the volcano to get steam. From these drill points, we have PVC pipe carrying steam away from the drill points. They carry steam over to the turbines facility. The turbine facilities here. This is just one turbine facility you see here. There are a total of 81 turbines in the geysers facilities here. 81 turbines all throughout this facility here. All throughout Sonoma County, California, through the mountains of Sonoma County, California. Why do we have earthquakes? Because seismic energy comes off of the Pacific Plate, comes over here to these drill points, finds these drill points, and just like happens with the oil fields, the seismic energy finds the drill points and fracture rock inside the man-made earthquake fault, causing earth movement. That's why we have so many earthquakes here. As I said before, this is the largest amount of earthquakes I've seen since I've been doing this program in nearly 7 years. 106 earthquakes all throughout the geysers area here. Normally we don't see any more than 18 to 20, 25. I've seen in the past upwards of 52. Today, 106 earthquakes here in the geysers facility. Again, seismic energy comes off the Pacific Plate over onto the North American continent. The North American Plate comes over here and finds these man-made earthquake faults, fractures the rock inside the faults, causing earth movement. That's why we have these earthquakes here. As you can see by these red dots here, these are brand new earthquakes. This one is a 0.6 microquake. This one right here, is a 0.8 microquake as well. Man-made earthquakes. Further down here to the south right here, this is a 0.8 microquake here. We have microquakes, we have tremors, and we have minor earthquakes as well. This earthquake here is a 1.2 tremor here. 1.2 tremor. Earlier this morning, when I first saw this happening, there was a 3.2 earthquake that I believe they've taken down. There was one 3.2 earthquake that they took down. Okay? But that's why we have earthquakes here in the geysers. Seismic energy comes off the Pacific plate, comes over here in the geysers, fractures the rock, causing earthquakes. To the north, Willits, California. I believe this is the Rogers Fault here, if I'm not mistaken. Might be wrong. Actually, I don't know. I don't think this is the Rogers. I don't remember what this is, but this is another fault. Willits, California, in the past has had numerous swarms here. Small swarms of earthquakes here in Willits, California. This is a 1.8 tremor here. 1.8 tremor here in Willits, California. We go north. Over here at the northern side of the San Andreas Fault, we don't have any earthquakes apparently today. That's interesting. Very interesting. Because seismic activity here is in the southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone. The southern part of the Cascadia subduction zone. Let's go here for kicks and giggles. We don't have any earthquakes off the coast whatsoever. Nothing. Nothing. Today, up here on the Cascadia subduction zone, right between Haida Gwaii Island here, right between Haida Gwaii Island and Vancouver Island here, we had a 4.5 earthquake here. We had a 4.5 earthquake, they've taken it down. Okay? Over here in Washington State, they're showing a handful of earthquakes here. Right here. Antioch, Washington. 0.6 microquake. Fascinating, but no cigar. We go down here to Mount Rainier where USGS is not showing any earthquakes at all whatsoever in almost a week. Now they're showing here a microquake on the western side of Mount Rainier. 0.5 microquake. That's interesting because there are hundreds of microquakes here at Mount Rainier. Hundreds. They have microquakes, they have tremors here, and minor earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. Unreal. They show one microquake when hundreds of other earthquakes happen here. Interesting. Look over here, southwest of Mount St. Helens. They're saying this is a 1.2 tremor here. They say this is 20 kilometers northwest of Amboy, Washington. Interesting, no cigar. This is southwest of Mount St. Helens. 1.2 tremor here. 1.2 tremor here. They're not showing any earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens. That's another fallacy. Okay? We have microquakes, we have tremors, and we have minor earthquakes as well. We may also have some 3.0, 3.2 earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens and also up here at Mount Rainier. They happen. They happen all the time, every day. Again, the United States Geological Survey is lying through their teeth. They are lying through their teeth. Just for kicks and giggles, I want to go over here into the Gulf of Alaska here. Okay, south of Kodiak Island. Here in the Gulf of Alaska, 3.2 earthquake here. 3.2 earthquake on the Aleutian Island Fault. Here's the 3.9, 4.0. This is the original earthquake. That's the original earthquake. This is the 3.2 aftershock. This earthquake to the southeast is a 2.9, 3.0 aftershock as well. South of Kodiak Island here. Guess what? 3.3 small earthquake. 3.3 small earthquake. Further down here to the south on the Aleutian Island Fault is a 4.0 magnitude quake. 4.0 magnitude earthquake. Moderate earthquake. This is southwest of Nikolsky, Alaska. 126 miles southwest of Nikolsky, Alaska. For kicks and giggles right here. Okay? Denali, Alaska, Denali National Park. Up here, guess what? There just happens to be a very famous mountain here, Mount McKinley. We have a 2.0 earthquake here at Mount McKinley. And USGS wants us to believe this is 62 kilometers north of Petersville, Alaska. It's in Denali National Park, but they want us to believe it's near Petersville, Alaska. They will never, ever be truthful about anything. Nothing. Southeast of Mount McKinley, in the foothills, we have a 2.2 minor earthquake. Just northeast of there, a 1.7 tremor. South there, we have a 2.4 earthquake. 2.4 minor earthquake. Denali National Park, guys. Up here on the north side, northwest side of Mount McKinley, on the north side of Mount Denali National Park, another 2.7 earthquake. But this time, USGS decides they're going to say this is on the southeast side of Denali National Park. Guys, tell me, is this on the southeast side of Denali National Park or on the northwest side of Denali National Park? Yeah. They still cannot get the direction straight. They never will. They never will. They never have, never will. That's what the USGS does. They want to lie to us. They want to continue to deceive us. They're not ever going to be honest with us, ever. Not now, not ever. They never have been. Now, I didn't go over here to Japan. Off the northeast side of Japan, this is another aftershock. This is a 4.3 aftershock from the 7.4 earthquake that hit here off the northeast side of Honshu, Japan, a month ago. This is a 4.3 aftershock here. It's not the only earthquake here. There are 4 other earthquakes here, and 2 in Honshu and 2 others further south here in Japan. Unreal. Down here in the Kuril Islands, south of Kamchatka Peninsula. The Kuril Islands belong to Russia. This is a 4.5 earthquake here near Severo, Kuril Islands, Russia. 4.5 earthquake. Southeast of Kamchatka, this is a 5.3 large earthquake here. Up to the north, also off the coast, is another 4.6. Look where these earthquakes are. Both these earthquakes here, this 5.3 and the 4.6, are going to end up all over here on the Aleutian Island Fault. They're going to move up the fault zone here to the Aleutian Island Fault and move even further east over here to Alaska. They're going to end up here in Alaska before probably the next 2 weeks. I don't think it's going to take any longer than 2 weeks to get to Alaska. Seismic energy continues to move out here to Alaska. It's been a very long time since we had a major earthquake here. We're due it. The last major earthquake we had over here off of Sandpoint, Alaska, here, was a 7.8 earthquake and an 8.7. 7.8 and an 8.7. Prior to that, and that was out in the ocean. Prior to that, you guys remember 2019? The summer of 2019, we had a 7.0 earthquake here in Anchorage. It's been a long time. We shall see what we see now this summer. Seismic energy is locked up here in Alaska, both down in the Gulf of Alaska and up here near Anchorage, locked up. It's ready to pop. Now I'm going to get away from earthquakes now. I'm going to leave earthquakes now. I have some other things that we need to discuss. Okay? First off, we've had over 1,000 arrests in Minnesota. We've had over 1,000 illegal immigrants arrested in Minnesota this past weekend. Somali immigrants, illegals. These Somali immigrants have been arrested because of fraud. ICE, the FBI, and the Secret Service. Government fraud. On the same token, what happened in New York City this weekend? Over 650 people were arrested. A joint FBI and U.S. Marshals arrest, New York City, an underground trafficking network worth $43 million. Leaks allege hundreds of people rescued. Secret chambers under New York. Years of activity operating in silence. Who financed it? Who looked the other way? Authorities are remaining very tight-lipped. They're not talking. Fueling intense speculation online. What's being revealed now could expose a much larger web. Numerous cases of human trafficking rings in New York have been reported by law enforcement, with recent indictments announced by the Manhattan District Attorney's Office and other federal agencies. These investigations often involve the exploitation of vulnerable individuals through coercion, debt bondage, and force. In December 2025, just 2 months ago, a 15-person, 3-letter word trafficking ring was indicted in Manhattan for allegedly coercing women from Venezuela into prostitution to pay off the taxes, to pay off their travel debt. In September 2025, a retired financier and his assistant were charged with 3-letter word trafficking and other related offenses. Other cases have involved operations in spas and massage parlors where victims, often foreign nationals, were forced into commercial 3-letter word acts. Incredible. But over 650 people were arrested this past weekend in New York alone. Illegal immigrants forced into trafficking. Let's talk about for a minute something that happened yesterday. We had a Super Bowl. We had a Super Bowl that is originally meant to have widespread national significance. Widespread significance. Actually, not bread, widespread significance. National pride. 2 football teams representing different leagues. The best of Super Bowl football teams come together and clash with a winner. We'll talk about the winner in just a minute. We had 2 halftime celebrations. One by NBC NFL, NBC Television NFL, one by TPUSA on YouTube and other social media outlets. 2 different halftime celebrations. The TPUSA celebration attracted over 10 million views. Over 10 million viewers. And more than 25 million views on social media. 10 million live views and 25 million views on social media. The NFL and NBC had estimate their numbers to be 100 million people viewed Bad Bunny's halftime show. Millions of people decided they didn't want to see Bad Bunny because of his reputation. His illicit reputation. Yeah, no one wanted to see him. In the past, Bad Bunny's come out on television, on his shows, wearing dresses, putting out messages that weren't very nice, that weren't very child-friendly. Yesterday on NFL NBC halftime show, it was very much audience-friendly. Now, while his show debuted what Puerto Rico citizens represent, yes, Puerto Rico is a United States territory. Great people. I have numerous friends in Puerto Rico, some of my best friends in Puerto Rico. While Bad Bunny's show debuted Puerto Rico citizens, what they represent, and then what they have to go through during the past 10 years and longer throughout their lives. It did not offer real normal entertainment value. They want to say it was a concert. It was not. It was a show. It was an entertainment show. No real entertainment value. that previous halftime shows have given this country in the past. The Super Bowl halftime shows in the past were all about United States of America, American pride. They offered entertainment value that our citizens most enjoyed. Yesterday's show did not do that, gave none of it. It gave us a small glimpse of Puerto Rican life. That's all fine. They had actors portraying sugar plant trees. Yeah, sugar plant trees, no problem. They also played Bad Bunny music. No problem. The video showed green sugarcane trees being modeled by actors and dancers, with appearances made by Lady Gaga, Ricky Martin, and Bad Bunny. The halftime show last night showed Bad Bunny climbing power poles to suggest what Puerto Rican citizens had to go through when they lost power to their island as a result of Hurricane Maria years ago. And power poles represent their power loss during the 8.0, 8.4 earthquake in 2019. Yeah. When earthquakes and hurricanes hit that island nation, knocks out power, knocks out food. That's why we talk about emergency preparedness so much on this show. What Bad Bunny did, he portrayed Puerto Rican life, which is all fun and good. But it wasn't the concert that we normally would see at halftime shows. Okay? Nothing extraordinary was done by Bad Bunny. I believe that most people watch TPUSA show. TPUSA show had millions of viewers. TPUSA halftime show had millions of viewers because of the hype that was given out by Bad Bunny's past affiliations and his past LGBTQ crowd and his extraordinary counterculture music and his antics of parading around in dresses worn as a man. I don't think anybody wanted to see that. I think most people were afraid of seeing that, so they left that and went over to TPUSA. And TPUSA did not do any of that. They gave a great show. They portrayed what American values were at, what people wanted to see. No one saw that Bad Bunny side this time, which is good. Because if Bad Bunny had done what he's done in the past, the NFL and NBC would have had its hands full of apologies and backtracking why that had been allowed to happen. Early figures show Bad Bunny's Super Bowl 60 halftime show drew more than 131 million viewers, potentially making it the most watched halftime show performance of all time, even though it was not a concert as we've had in the past. While official Nielsen ratings are still being finalized, these early estimates suggest he surpassed the previous record of 133.5 million viewers held by Kendrick Lamar. Numbers speak for themselves. Most people don't like to hear rap. That's lately what NBC and the NFL portrayed. They've gotten these rappers to perform at halftime shows. None of that happened at TPUSA. The TPUSA All-American Halftime Show drew in over 10 million live viewers and more than 25 million views on social media platforms. One quarter of the people that Bad Bunny got on the NBC network. One quarter. Regardless of what NBC and the NFL showed. The TPUS show was far and above the better alternative to what the NFL did yesterday. Better entertainment, rock and roll. Yes, it had heavy metal with a side of Christian commentary by none other than Kid Rock and a few other Christian Western country performers. Yes, country Western performers. And they did offer clean, wholesome entertainment. Clean, wholesome entertainment that everybody loved and found. It was very refreshing compared to what the NFL has debuted in past years in the form of heavy rap, which most adults don't appreciate. Now, I want to get into something else. Something else that I believe needs to be talked about. 30 minutes from now, 30 short minutes from now, there's going to be an issue come up. 7 p.m. 7 p.m. During the past week, it's been now over 7 days since someone kidnapped Nancy Guthrie. Nobody knows whether she's even alive or dead. The kidnappers have given out 3 ransom notices. One of them was a false ransom notice. That person is in jail, facing trial. This last ransom demand came out this past weekend. Savannah Guthrie and her sister and brother has said they're going to pay the ransom. The ransom is due by the kidnappers by 7 p.m. today, Eastern Time. I've been actually thinking about whether I was going to air this interview by Megyn Kelly and someone else affiliated with one of the alternative media. I think I'm going to do it. I think it's well worth it. Let's talk about this. I'm going to air this. I would ask that everybody please watch this program. I think it's going to be very informative.
For people who struggle to trim their toenails.
Sorry, I can't let this audio go out.
For us on Saturday night and what happened at Annie's home.
Yeah, Megan, it kind of came out of nowhere. I was over at Nancy's house, which is about 10 minutes away, and I got a call like something's going down at Annie's house. So I raced over here. This is Annie's house behind me. And when I got here, there were 3 deputies that had just arrived. They have private security here. NBC hired private security, I'm told. And it seemed coordinated because the security guard just moved out of the way, let the 3 deputies in, and they had blue gloves on. They had some camera equipment that was in a case. They went inside and they were inside for 3 hours. They closed all the blinds. I could see them taking pictures. Yeah, there you go. Right. That's some of the stuff they brought out. I could see them taking pictures in the garage. You could see a flash from a camera, and then you could see them move throughout the house to other parts of the house because you could see the flash from the camera coming from around the blinds.
And it took about 3 hours?
Yeah, they were inside for 3 hours, and then they packed up and they left. They didn't say a word. And NBC is reporting today that it was consensual, that I guess it was worked out with the family that they were going to show up, which really doesn't surprise me because, again, just it didn't seem, it seemed like they knew they were coming. The security guard moved out of the way. They knew how to get into the house. There's no one at the house right now, so they went in on their own, and it all seemed like very coordinated.
Brian, where's the family?
It's a good question. We don't know. They were here. Savannah was at this house early last week with her sister, her sister's husband, and Cameron was here also. And this is where they filmed
Hey
the
guys,
first
thanks so
video
much for
because we
checking out
saw
my
them bring the
show.
ring light and the tripod in. And somehow they left without anyone really noticing. And it's interesting, there were more security guards here specifically hired by NBC when Savannah was here. There were 3 security guards. And then when she left, now there's only 1 security guard just sort of keeping an eye on the house and, telling people to stay back.
Well, it's interesting to watch NBC in the mornings on the Today Show to see what they're reporting on this case, because there's no question in my mind it will have been blessed by Savannah. There's zero doubt that they are asking her, are you comfortable with this? Are you okay? They would not want to upset her or report, get out ahead of their skis or go someplace where she didn't want it. And they were the ones who broke the news that the search of Annie's home was consensual as opposed to, via search warrant. So to me, I'm deducing, though I can't confirm it as an independent fact, that she doesn't want it looking like her sister or anybody living in that home, like the brother-in-law, are in any way in trouble. But that does not jive with Ashley Banfield's reporting about them considering Annie's husband, Tomas, and that he may, quote, be a prime suspect in this case. We're still investigating that too, Brian, and whether the brother-in-law is coming under the scrutiny of law enforcement. And all I can tell you is that I have reason to believe Ashley Banfield was onto something. I don't know that he did this, but I do believe her reporting that they are taking a very serious look at him. And he's been out of the picture. I mean, he has not been in any of the videos. Has he been seen at all, Brian?
He hasn't been seen since I think it was Tuesday of last week. We got some photos of him outside the house here. He's very recognizable with this big beard. And he was outside with his wife, Savannah's sister, Annie, and they were in the car together. But it's now been almost a week. And something else interesting, you mentioned how they the authorities went and retrieved the surveillance video from the gas station and that they were looking for someone. That gas station is a Circle K, and it's right around the corner from Annie's house. It's not close to Nancy's house. It's right around the corner from Annie's house. And it's where it's positioned is where you would have to drive to go from Nancy's house to Annie's house, which
Okay, I'm going to pause it there. Okay, there's no information. There's no information. Let me show you the new information right now. Okay, Savannah Guthrie's got a new video out. She just put it out. She's calling this an hour of desperation. She's calling this an hour of desperation. Let's show you this right now.
Savannah Guthrie has just released a new video. In it, she pleads for public help in finding her mother, Nancy. Now, the FBI says it is taking 2 emails seriously, including a ransom note with a second deadline set for today at 5 p.m. Savannah took to social media over the weekend telling any potential captors that she and other members of her family are willing to pay for her mother's return. And this is the message she sent out, or at least part of it, late today.
No matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation, and we need your help.
We are joined now by Andres Gutierrez, who is following the latest development. Andres, very good to have you with us. What can you tell us?
Well, Major, authorities are staying mum. They have not held a news conference since last Thursday, even though over the weekend they reiterated on social media that there has been no suspect, no person of interest, or even a vehicle tied to the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. Just yesterday, though, detectives were out here and they spent the better part of the day in her backyard focused on a septic tank. We don't know why exactly they were prompted to go and look at that septic tank, and they haven't said what they found in it. We do also know that investigators were mounted up on the roof. They ended up recovering a camera from that rooftop on Friday afternoon. And then later in the evening, they hauled away her SUV that was in the garage. They're presumably at this point, are processing that vehicle, looking for any data that may help fill in some of the gaps in their timeline. Detectives also returned to other key locations connected with Nancy's last known movements, including her daughter Annie's home, where Nancy had dinner the night before she disappeared. They ended up showing up to that house on Saturday night. We're out there for about 3 hours. Law enforcement sources close to this investigation do tell CBS News that detectives are canvassing nearby neighborhoods and reviewing surveillance videos from area gas stations. There is a $50,000 reward that the FBI is offering, and to raise awareness of that money, they are posting it on billboards along with Nancy's face here in Arizona and across the region. The FBI Director Kash Patel is in town this afternoon here in Tucson for a pre-planned trip, but it's not linked to the case. We are waiting to see if he ends up showing up here at the house to essentially get a lay of the land. So that is the development that we're waiting to see if it does happen.
Okay, that's presently here in Arizona right now. Again, we are waiting on the 5 p.m. deadline, 5 p.m. Mountain Time deadline. That is 7 p.m. Eastern Time. 7 p.m. Eastern Time now. This is the manhole covers that they're talking about. There are 2 manhole covers you can see here. One here on the left, and over here to the right, there's another one. These are in Nancy Guthrie's backyard. There's apparently a underground cistern for sewage. Okay? They had a long pole they were sticking down into the manhole, allegedly probing down into the depths of that cistern. It's unknown what they have here. They have not said anything. No evidence has come forth at all, whether they found something or not. But they're still looking for Nancy Guthrie. Okay? Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions about anything here? Okay? I want to make sure you saw this. I believe it's very important. To the Guthrie family, this is an emergency. If you or your family had this same thing happen, this would be an emergency in your lives. We need to talk about this. We need to bring it out. This should affect every American. This should affect everybody anywhere. We usually don't have kidnappings in other countries. Yes, it occasionally does happen. But this should affect everybody. What do you do when a family member disappears like this? They are probably very frantic and worried about her safe return, whether she is able to be alive or not. May God bless them. May God heal their hearts and lift them up now. Laura Marie says her heart goes out to the Guthries. I agree. My heart also goes out to the Guthrie family. That's why I played this video for you. I think it's necessary that we see this. I think it's very necessary we see this about what's been going on here. Raul Perez, I believe you were here the other day. Your chat was deleted because it was in Spanish. If you want to speak about what happens, please put your comment in English. And please make sure that it does not offend anybody either. Offensive comments will be taken down and you will be taken off our chat for any future contact. Okay? Tini Pearl says, Greg Gutfield suggested family take polygraphs. I agree. I think some of the family members need to take polygraphs. The husband of Annie Guthrie, Nancy's daughter, hasn't been seen in several days. Something's going on there. Where's he been? What has he been up to? Again, I believe family members also should take polygraphs. That would probably help. Does anybody have any questions? Any questions at all? Guys, I appreciate you being here. I really do. Ask God to bless you and God to be with you this day and always. We need to pray for the Guthries. Brokefish Inn, no, I haven't given away any free memberships. I have asked YouTube to give me information about that, but they haven't done that. I'll ask again. I would love to give free memberships to our channel. That would be great. That would be great. Thank you for that, Broke. I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot. Guys, I ask the Lord to be with you this day and always. God bless you. Let's pray for the Guthrie family. They need our prayers. I rely on the Lord many times throughout my life. I rely upon the Lord for this program. I pray to him and ask for his thanks and ask for his guidance on this program all the time. I pray for each one of you. My family prays for each one of you. We love and appreciate you very much. May God bless you. May God be with you this day. God be with the Guthrie family as well. Guys, we will see you tomorrow. If anything else happens tonight, we'll be back on the air to tell you about it as soon as the information becomes available. Other than that, we'll be back with you sometime after 4 p.m. tomorrow evening. Tomorrow evening, we will be specifically talking about earthquakes in California. On Wednesday, we'll be talking about earthquakes on the Pneumatic Fault. And on Thursday, we'll be talking about earthquakes in the Pacific Northwest, as well as earthquakes around the world. God bless you. God be with you until we meet again. We'll see you on the other side, guys. Have a good night. Take care. God bless.
Here at Emergency Management Associates, we're dedicated and true, bringing you the essential knowledge, helping you see things through. From disaster preparedness to navigating recovery's embrace, we're here to guide you in every unpredictable time and place. We break down the complex, make it easy to grasp and absorb, sharing strategies for safety, the vital lessons you can't afford to hoard. So thank you for watching, and thank you so much for your sub. You're a key part of our growing family, a member of our knowledge club. With every like, every share, and every comment you send our way, our critical message spreads further, helping more people every single day. Together we're stronger and more prepared. That's the truth we all abide. You help us build resilience with nowhere for uncertainty to hide. Your engagement truly inspires us. Your feedback acts as a guiding light, helping us continually grow.